Hey guys, it's the Keto King here. So I'm just sitting here in front of my laptop and I happened to stumble across this video. Jillian Michaels, don't believe the keto hype. Now I'm sure you guys being in the keto community have seen it. If not, I'm going to A, link it down below, and B, I'm going to play a portion of this video on my reaction video here. Now it's from a YouTube channel called Big Think. I haven't heard of this before. I don't intend this to be a comprehensive review and rebuttal of everything that Jillian Michaels is saying. I'm just going to give you my take on what she said, and just to make sure that what she said doesn't entirely scare you off. Because in my opinion, there's a whole bunch of half-truths, exaggerations, and some just completely incorrect statements that have been said there. So let's run through a few of these things. So here she's talking about the benefits of keto. So let's see how she downplays each of these amazing benefits.
So when we look at keto, here's why we're saying, or not me, but here's where some of the advocates are espousing benefits. Well, what are we doing with keto, right? We're removing carbohydrates. Anything that elevates, you've got about 20 grams of carbohydrates a day that you're ingesting, which is essentially nothing.
So that's not necessarily true. Yes, if you want to get into ketosis quickly, 25 or less grams of carbs a day is what you should and can be aiming for. However, you can achieve a state of ketosis generally in 50 grams of carbs or less a day. Now, I advocate abiding by net carbohydrates. That's carbohydrates minus the fiber that you're eating and minus any sugar alcohols, which don't have any effects on your blood glucose. So you could actually be eating way more carbohydrates than the 20, she says, or less, or zero carbohydrates as she refers to later in this video.
We turn to fat quickly. We produce ketones, and the idea is we burn through fat and we lose fat fast. And that is true, right? And you would think that would be a good thing.
Great. Positive number one. Don't know what she's complaining about there.
And in addition, people will say, well, I reversed my type 2 diabetes. Of course, your insulin level is through the floor.
All right. And?
You're consuming zero carbohydrates.
Again, as I said, not zero, 25, 50, more if you're counting net carbohydrates.
And this can also affect conditions like polycystic ovarian syndrome. And, by virtue of that connection, it could also affect fertility. Fair, let's give it that.
Yes, it can affect fertility and PCOS, which is a common problem that people battle with, because it essentially gets rid of the negative effects of infertility. Yes, so it does affect it. She's using it in a somewhat negative connotation, but it can resolve fertility issues.
But here's what we're not talking about. There's 0 calorie restriction on a ketogenic diet, so you have a massive amount of oxidative stress.
I mean, that's just a crazy statement. I've seen a couple of these videos saying, well, that's ridiculous. Of course we restrict calories on keto. Well, yes and no. The point of getting onto a keto diet is that you are eliminating those high carbohydrate foods, those high sugar, high GI foods that have that crazy reaction in your bodies when you eat them. What that does is it stops you having those rises and falls in hunger, in cravings, right? If you have some sugary food or high carbohydrate food, you eat it and it satisfies that craving you had for sugary carb-loaded food. Because you get that huge rush of carbohydrates into your system and turns into blood glucose, your body secretes insulin to get rid of that excess blood sugar. Once the body does that, it actually does too good of a job and reduces that blood sugar level too much. Then you get that crash. That's why after you eat a high sugar or high carb meal, you feel super sleepy, right? So with the ketogenic diet, we're trying to get rid of those constant crashes and the constant cravings. We're getting rid of that addiction, I like to call it, to carbs, to food. It's an obsessive association with food, which is not healthy. When you're not on a keto diet, you're always thinking about food. You eat, an hour or two later, you're hungry again, thinking about, oh, what can I have? Oh, I feel like something sweet now. And that is exactly what the keto diet avoids and what the keto diet prevents and stops. It absolutely cuts that cycle dead. And once you've cut that cycle, you become more in tune with your body and being able to truly identify when your body actually is hungry. And it's not just as a result of a blood sugar crash. So you get more in tune with when you actually are hungry, and as a result of that, counting calories is often something you no longer need to do. You eat when you're hungry, you stop eating once you're full, and then because of the high fat foods that we eat, it keeps you satiated for a much longer period of time, and then you only eat once you're hungry again. And you'll see you break out of that habit of having to eat 3 times a day with 3 different snacks in between and then a snack before you go to bed. You'll get out of that system. You'll get out of constantly being hungry, constantly worrying about food, constantly thinking about food. For me, I don't count calories. I've stayed the same weight for a very long time now. If you were on a keto diet and you found you're not losing weight and you're actually gaining some weight, in that case, I would say yes, go ahead, count your calories. For sure, it's a great thing to do. But you don't need to. And what is the detriment to this? We're not advocating a diet where you just completely shove your face full of absolutely anything you want and eat until you stuff like a pig. That's not how we do it. You eat when you're hungry and you stop once you're full, and then only eat again once you're hungry again.
There's no consideration of timing with regard to food, so your autophagy process is totally out of whack.
Again, not necessarily true here, guys. We do focus on timing. The timing is once our body, first and foremost, when you feel hungry, you eat, and when you're full, you stop. That's the timing we use. Secondly, intermittent fasting is something that we do, sometimes by choice and intentionally, and other times simply by virtue of following those principles I just talked about. Now, Jillian uses some complex words in here which seems to lend credibility to her arguments, when in fact that is not the case. Now, autophagy is just the method by which your body cleans out damaged cells and toxins and helps you regenerate newer, healthier cells. Autophagy is something that we're absolutely looking for. The irony is, by her saying that the keto diet messes up our autophagy, is in fact the opposite of what it does. If you do some research online, you'll see what the people recommend for increasing autophagy. First and foremost, people recommend a high-fat, low-carb diet, which of course is exactly what we're doing on this keto. They also recommend going on a protein fast, which can help autophagy. Now, on a keto diet, remember, we don't eat high protein. We eat a medium protein diet on our keto lifestyle. So that is also going towards helping your autophagy. And then another recommendation is practicing intermittent fasting to help increase autophagy. Guess what we do in our keto lifestyle, as I just mentioned? We do intermittent fasting, whether intentionally or unintentionally, just as a result of our lifestyle. Then another thing they recommend for increasing autophagy is exercise using high intensity interval training. Yes, Jillian, you're right there. Your methods of high intensity training and a lot of exercise does increase autophagy, but this is just one of a number of ways to increase your autophagy.
In addition to that, it's very high in animal fats and animal proteins. So we're seeing that diets rich in saturated fats are poor for our telomeres, oxidative stress, increased inflammation, your nutrient-sensing pathways that are related to the health of your metabolism are overrun with constant food, heavy fats, lots of animal protein, and on. We know it hurts your telomeres, and on and on and on.
There's a number of things she said over there. Firstly, not a high protein diet, as we just already discussed. High animal fats, it can be, and yes, often we do use high animal fats, but we do get our fats from other sources. We get our fats from nuts. We get our fats from different oils, coconut oils. The problem is that she's making these blanket statements, again, without citing any evidence or any studies for this. She does, in fact, reference certain studies in this video without producing any links to such information or even describing any of these studies that she refers to. Again, she uses the word telomeres. Now, I'm not going to tell you here that I know what telomeres are. I did some research on what these telomeres are. And here it says is that in the nucleus of a cell, our genes are arranged along twisted, double-stranded molecules of DNA called chromosomes. At the end of these chromosomes are stretches of DNA called telomeres, which protect our genetic data, make it possible for cells to divide, and hold some secrets to how we age and get cancer. So really, it's a predictor of how long you're going to live, the longevity of your life. It says that each time the cell divides, the telomeres get shorter. When they get too short, they can't divide anymore. Then that cell becomes inactive or it dies. and the shortening process is associated with aging, cancer, or a higher risk of death. So they compare the telomeres to a bomb fuse. The shorter it is, the closer you are to the big ending. But where does she get this information from that this high protein, which is not true, this high animal fat, which is also not necessarily always true, that it hurts our telomeres? Again, I'm not going to sit here and say, no, it doesn't, because guess what? I haven't done the research for this. I don't know if it does or not, and I'm not going to make a blanket statement without providing you some evidence to support that statement that I've just made, which is exactly what Jillian is doing here, which I think is unfair to everyone who watches this video. I can't attribute any weight to that statement.
Now, what about the benefits? Is it worth it? Let me tell you, the number one way to sensitize somebody's body, again, to insulin is exercise. I've been doing this a heck of a long time. I've reversed type 2 diabetes. I've helped people get off all medications for type 2 diabetes and PCOS and get pregnant after years of trying and failing through a common sense diet where we don't eat too much. We eat real food, and we have balanced macronutrients. So I can give you all those benefits with none of the negative side effects of keto.
Again, there's just some very blanket general statements here. A balanced diet, not too much, don't eat too much. What does that mean? What exactly are you advocating? Whole foods, yes, that's what keto is also about. Keto is about eating whole foods, avoiding processed foods, avoiding pre-packaged or man-made foods. Those are things that we avoid in the keto lifestyle, so we follow that. So yes, maybe her method does also reverse type 2 diabetes, help people with PCOS, help people lose weight. Sure, but the keto diet does those exact same things. The negatives that she cited about it are either completely false or entirely unsubstantiated. I'm certainly not knocking what she's advocating. I think exercise is an integral part of anyone's lifestyle if they want to live a healthy lifestyle and lose weight. But to talk just generally about what type of diet you should be eating and that you need to work your ass off in the gym, I just think is a backwards approach to leading a healthy lifestyle. You need to get your diet right and in check first and supplement that with activity.
And last thought on keto, we're stripping our body of certain fruits which have a ton of antioxidants and polyphenols in them. So again, when we look at oxidative stress and free radicals and how they're aging us, we need to look at antioxidant foods that help to combat that. When you start cutting out digestive enzymes in papaya and pineapple and mango and all of the beta carotene, which is one of the top things to help keep your telomeres long, something like keto is detrimental on so many different levels.
Well, look, she's got an argument here in that we definitely limit fruits. We eat the berries because those are the lowest in carbohydrates. We don't eat pineapples, mangoes, those types of things because it's just not going to fit in with our macros. But we can get those sorts of antioxidants and micronutrients from other foods we eat. Again, in a keto lifestyle, the misconception is we shove our face full of butter, bacon, saturated fats, and that's it. We don't eat anything else. That's not a healthy diet. Obviously, we as a keto lifestyle, we recommend eating vegetables, eating your leafy greens. All of those things have these antioxidants, have these micronutrients that Jillian says we're missing out from the high sugar fruits. We're still eating fruits, the lower carb fruits like those berries, but we still eat vegetables. We still eat a lot of salads, a lot of leafy greens. So yes, while she's not wrong that we don't eat those high sugar fruits, I believe she's exaggerating the so-called detrimental effects of not eating those fruits.
And the amount of benefit is so small when we can take a completely different path, get all the benefit over here, none of the negatives over here, and all the benefits over there.
And again, the negatives she said just aren't that many. The keto diet does everything her diet and exercise plan does, and those negatives are just simply unsubstantiated in my humble opinion. You know what, there's a lot of people who have opinions on keto diet, and I don't think that's what the keto community gets frustrated about. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and they need to do their own research. I think what everyone's getting frustrated about with this video is the tone in which this video was delivered. It's almost, if you hear her, she's laughing in some parts, going, oh, you're not eating fruits and papaya and mango. It's as if she's saying, how could you be so silly? How could you be so stupid and follow this lifestyle? And I think that is what is frustrating the keto and low carb community. This wasn't a discussion of the pros and cons and you need to decide, or discussion of the pros and cons and I recommend not following a keto lifestyle. It was a condescending, very antagonistic approach in discussing the keto diet. I don't blame Jillian Michaels for it. She obviously got asked, and I'm sure she got paid to do something like this. She may have just jumped into it with not having done as much research as she should have done with such a video being made. But I just wanted to make this video to make sure you guys weren't running away thinking, oh, Jillian Michaels said this is terrible, what have I done? Just wanted you to get a better lens on what she actually said in this video. And I hope I provided that to you. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of Jillian Michaels and why you think she made this video. What do you think about what she said? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the Keto King channel, and of course, keep it keto.